footage that's been displayed 2 weeks ago, and Mr. Smith suggested that some government officials might be paid off by the oil and gas industry. Mr. McCarrier rebuked them then, he rebuked them again today. Butler Eagle jeered, saying it was not productive and reckless. Is it possible, though, that some politicians in the area have gotten special attention from the oil and gas industry? I don't know, so I looked. A list of 220 politicians who've accepted money from the industry, statewide. 8 of the top 31 are from Butler, either in the State House or the Senate. The average among those 8 was $36,525. Brian Ellis accepted $35,150. Now, I'm not saying those were under-the-table transactions. They weren't. They were campaign contributions. People contribute money to candidates for a lot of reasons, but one of them is to gain influence. It's sort of like a legal bribe. One thing I would like to know before I leave today is whether any of you commissioners, members of your immediate family, have accepted any money from the oil or gas industry. Have any of the commissioners or members of the immediate family benefited from a business relationship with the gas industry? Have any of the commissioners accepted money for leasing their land? But money isn't the only way that influence can be bought. When I was trying to convince Karen that I was a great guy, I brought her flowers, took her to see magnificent sunsets, sang her songs, and just hung around, hoping she'd get the idea that I was this great guy. But it wasn't long before Karen got to see that I had some annoying habits, and after she met my siblings, they told her all of my quirks. One of the things I've been struck with over the last 2 weeks, or last 2 visits to your meeting, is that you guys have been wooed by the industry. You both talked in the last 2 meetings about your tour of the XTO site. But you don't live next to a well. A second thing I'd like you to leave today with is a commitment from you commissioners to accept a tour conducted by Marcellus Outreach Butler to give you an idea of what it's like in Butler County, some of the darker sides of the industry. I'd like to talk about a couple misconceptions that were brought up here in this meeting. First of all, Commissioner McCarrier, the people from the Woodlands had nothing to do with that petition.
30 seconds.
Second, Mr. Eckstein, there was no candidate endorsed by MOB for the county commissioners. And you know that I contributed money to you. The impact money should be spent on impact. When I talked to Brian Ellis, he called me after this petition went out. He said that what you said in the paper was absolutely incorrect. That if the money wasn't spent on impact, you were breaking the law.
There's a lot on your shoulders, and I do appreciate your public service. At the last commissioners meeting, in response to the request about the folks in the Woodlands who want their water restored, the comment was made, and I know you've said perhaps that was a misstatement, Mr. Eckstein, about there's no free lunch. And I think any of the dealings I've had with these folks, they just want restored what was theirs before the drilling started back to what it was. They want water. They want to be made whole again, which is the promise that the industry comes to us with. And it's why people like Jeannie talked about the water. It's why we are all concerned about the cost. And I think really your comment about there being no free lunch is pretty profound, in the sense that there are costs associated with everything. So perhaps initially what seems like a free lunch or easy money when we lease land, public land, it seems like a way to plug holes in our budget. There are costs to that. And I appreciate the fact that Peggy Ebersol came to the meeting on Saturday and listened about the health impacts. But there are so many impacts. There's the impacts on the roads. The impact fees, once this gets going totally in Butler County, it's only going to cover a small amount of attending to our roads, attending to our bridges. There's the health impacts. And those are, we see evidence of that with the people who live closest to it, with respiratory problems and skin rashes, and we don't even know what the long-term effects are because there's been no health impact studies or environmental impact studies done about this. The 2 most important industries in Butler County are farming and tourism. And there's a chance there's going to be a really big impact on those two industries. There are billions of gallons of fresh water that are being contaminated by the fracking chemicals. And once that's contaminated, there's no getting that back. And there will be a loss of property values of homes and land in areas where the drilling sites, compression stations, and gas processing plants are
30
constructed.
seconds.
So we know that. So it's very important in making your decisions about this high volume slip water unconventional gas drilling in Butler County to remember there are no free lunches. What are the real costs and are they worth it? Thank you.
Thank you.
I am a certified building biology and environmental consultant. I consult on how to have healthy buildings. I am also a member of MOB, the Marcella Outreach Butler. I am also in conjunction with Dickinson College and the Mountain Watershed taking water samples from Thorn Creek to see if there's any barium as a result of fracking. Now, some homeowners have had, to have our own wells. We have had, of course, to drill our own wells, which costs money. We would have to test our own wells for bacteria. That testing costs $30, $50 a year. Okay, that was before fracking. But since fracking has come into our community, into our county, homeowners who are responsible and who can do it have to get an independent, third-party, 3-tier testing done on their wells. This costs $1,500. And when you think you may have a problem, you have to retest, which is $600 for every retest of your private well. These costs homeowners in this county did not have before fracking. We also are now getting reports from homeowners that have done the testing and have done the retesting that there are significant increases in the barium levels in their wells. And this is nowhere near the Woodlands. This is in other parts of the county. And I'm just here to inform you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Carrier, Mr. Pinkerton, and Mr. Eckstein. My name is Ping Perung, and I live in Middlesex Township. My husband and I moved here from Pittsburgh about 14 years ago. We chose to live in Butler County because it was felt welcoming and had an honest rural feel. We felt safe in this fairly peaceful environment. Until recently, we felt we had made a very good decision. The recent surge in drilling for gas in the Marcellus Shale has caused us to begin to have more and more worries. This is a result of hearing the first-hand experiences of people living in areas where drilling is all-pervasive, such as Washington and Bradford counties. The experience of these people have put question marks in our thoughts that the gas drilling is a good thing for our The experience of these people have put question marks in our thoughts that gas drilling is good for our community. At the same time, we have found that there are many things the gas companies tell us to assure us that there is no environmental or health impacts have been wrong. It's disheartening to feel as though too many people are being lured by the promise of a lot of money without completely researching the industry. There's a growing number of citizens in Butler County that have questions. When these questions and concerns are brought before our supervisors and you, the commissioners, it often seems as though they are brushed off as inconsequential. I feel as though your job as commissioners of the Butler County is to be the keeper of the county's well-being, not only fiscally, but for the health and well-being of its citizens. In this capacity, it is your job to make important decisions that impact this well-being. As in any decision one makes in life, there's a process of learning more about an issue from all sides. It's similar to a judge hearing a case. He listens to the presentation of both the prosecution and the defendant. With that in mind, I feel it is important for each of you to attend presentations by people or groups that have found problems with the gas drilling. There are regular ones in Butler sponsored by Marcellus Outreach Butler. This past Saturday was a good presentation regarding the health impacts of gas drilling with first-hand accounts of people's experiences. And on February 21st, there will be a presentation by John Stoltz, the Director of Center for Environmental Research and Education at Duquesne University, and a professor in the Department of Biological Sciences. His presentation will be regarding gas drilling and your water. This presentation will be in the Middlesex Municipal Building in Middlesex Township. It will behoove each of you to attend. I urge you to look at all sides.
30 seconds, ma'am.
Have a dialogue and really listen. Approaching an issue with a predetermined idea does not benefit you or the county. You have an important job to do.
Ma'am, can you repeat that Middlesex meeting date?